Hello, friends. My name is Aslam Sheikh, your host for this evening. I'm founder and CEO of Aleph, a platform to promote the global perspective of education and career. This is our 64th webinar series and broadcasted live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Every Friday, we aim to bring in the valuable speakers to discuss the topic that is important to you and for your career. Those who are joining us first time, just to introduce quickly, Aleph is an award-winning education company. We counsel over 23,000 students in last 13 years. We have been rated among the top 10 study abroad consultants by Knowledge Review last year. We also help our students for the scholarship, and up till now, we have helped the students to get a scholarship worth 23 crore Indian rupees equivalent and more for these two colleges and universities which we represent. You will have with Aleph 200 plus universities and 14 countries options. So with this short introduction, let's move on to today's topic. And today's topic is very, very interesting and also very futuristic. Let's learn the trending careers through UI UX design programs. And we know that it has been the talk of the town for last many years. Or many months precisely, whereby the students and parents would want to know more about this particular segment of the IT program. It's very unique in its own sense, but we would definitely get into a more discussion with our today's speaker. And in order to do that and to discuss these exciting subjects, let's have our today's speaker in the room. And let me welcome Jarna Seth. Hi, Jarna.
Hi, Alif. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Very
you.
good evening to you in India.
Thank you very much, Jhanna. Jhanna is joining us from Canada, and let's get to know Jhanna a little well. So I've got a brief bio of Jhanna, and let me introduce her. She has got 8+ years of progressive experience in post-secondary education with focus on to international education and vocational education. Jhanna has also been the part of a consulting team for design and deployment of one of the largest state government sponsored vocational education projects in India before she moved to Canada, of course. Jhanna has also assisted 1,000+ students and, of course, their parents with their academic and career decisions across geographies, and presently leading the responsibility at Tamwood College in Canada as a business development and special projects manager. Thank you very much, Jhanna, and it is really a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Alif, for that generous introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. Great, friends. So we are going to discuss this topic. So if you have any question, please do write into your comment box. And if you have a time, definitely we'll try to address those questions. But meantime, let's progress. And I have got some very interesting information before we jump on to this topic to share with you, that as of January 2020, and that's what the report I'm just reading from, there were over 1.94 billion websites in existence. And there are currently over 4 million mobile apps available for download on Android and iOS combined. So UI designer ranks third on the list of the 19 most in-demand digital creative talent for 2019. And that's a report which is very impressive, and it should allow you to think seriously about this particular topic. And let's dwell into more with Jhanna, and let's try to understand from her experience and on behalf of the college she represents, that how does it help the students and what exactly you learn. So Jhanna, very first question from students and parents' point of view, what usually is been asked to the counselors is that what is UI and UX? Because usually students are very much familiar with the very traditional courses which are available in computer science, computer engineering, nowadays robotics, we are talking about cybersecurity. But UI UX is still a fairly very new concept to talk about. And when it comes with a design, and it further confuses students that is it a part of a design, is it a part of a IT program? So we would like to know more about it from you, and also if you can conclude with that statement, that what exactly student learn as a skill, out of this course. Jhanna, to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alif, for that question. And that's a great point you raised about people being confused between whether it's design or whether it's science or computer science, or where does it exactly fall. So before I jump into the specifics, for the benefit of those who haven't heard these terms before, user experience is what UX stands for. So the X can be a little deceiving. X is experience, not anything else. So UX is user experience, and UI is user interface. Um, I'd like to preface my response to your question by saying that the purpose of both is to design product experiences that are human centric or people centric, right? So there is definitely a design element involved, but it definitely involves a lot of technical skills on the web development kind of side. So I'll jump into the specifics a little bit more. So think about it as web development meets design in a way, if you are trying to sort of imagine the world in which we're operating in. uh, User experience focuses on the actual product design, while user interface focuses on the visual aesthetic. In that way, if you think about it, user experience can apply to both physical as well as digital products, but user interface can only apply to digital products or digital platforms. I hope that sort of gives you a broad overview before I can dive a little bit more in.
Yeah, actually, it sounds very interesting, and it actually I would want to know a little bit more about what do I learn and what skills also I get it out of the course.
Absolutely. And so just to sort of, take a step back, maybe what I can do is I can provide you with an illustration, which can help you think about the journey of this field, right? So UX has been around for as long as we can remember. Now, I mean, maybe I'm providing you a bit of a dated example here, but imagine the first shoe that was ever made, the first person who ever made a pair of shoes. At that time, the sole purpose of the shoe was utility, to keep your feet protected, to make sure that, no dirt got in or you didn't get hurt or whatever else. But over the time, or over time periods, shoes have evolved into a lot more. Now there are elements of comfort, there are elements of luxury, and there are elements of aesthetic embedded into it. Now the experience of wearing the shoe has transformed. So user experience has been around for very, very long now. I'm sure people are wondering now, if it's been around for so many years, why have we never heard of it? Why is it so new? It's because the scope of now UX and UI has expanded exponentially because there's disruptive growth because of technology. Now, if you think about just taking the example that you provided, that there are so many, I think you said a billion websites in the world right now, and 4 million apps to download.
Yeah.
Imagine that's as of today in a world that is struck by a pandemic. As we grow forward, this is only going to grow and transform further and further. Pretty much everything we do, from transportation to food to technology, I mean, to education to finance, is being disrupted and reimagined in the context of digital worlds, right? So even this experience, like maybe 2 years ago when we last met, you and I would not have imagined doing a webinar like this over
Yeah.
StreamYard. We were meeting in person, and you would have probably invited me to speak to your students in person at your facilities in Bandra. That has changed so much thanks to technology, and look at this interface we are working towards. This is a living example of UI and UX. We're transforming these experiences into digital contexts, and so we're at the cusp of redefining so many traditional experiences, making it almost critical to create a body of talent that can help take the world into this next phase of growth and of evolution.
Right, right. Absolutely. So it looks very promising when you look at from that angle, and the valuable information which you provided for our audience to have a look at this very complex looking but easy to understand, the way you made us understand this technology. Jana, we would also want to know from you that if I take up this particular course, and this is what the next most important question what the students and parent would ask, because they would, whatever course you would like to do after your 12th or after your graduation, it needs to be connected with the industry. What
Absolutely.
they fail to understand, because of so much of information even though available, is that how this particular course will connect to me to the industry, number one, and what exactly the role am I going to play, being the graduate in this particular course. So would you like to showcase some examples and the
Absolutely.
career opportunities?
Absolutely. So I think I also missed out in your question on skills that students acquire. So I'll try and combine these two responses a little bit. Let's take, I'm just going to I always like to use examples because it makes it easier to visualize for students. So let's take an example of a popular food app service, like your food delivery service that you use on your phone. I guess in India, Swiggy is popular, and Kuzi is popular, and Zomato is
Yeah,
popular. So
Zomato is, yeah.
imagine one of these, right? So imagine you're downloading one of these apps and you're ordering food via these. Now, before you downloaded this app, someone made this app, right? So when they decided to make this app, the designer, so people who are working in UX, were investing time in figuring out what the journey of a customer would look like in the app. On the flip side, they're also imagining what the journey of a delivery person would look like in the app. Now there are two customers here: the guy who's delivering the food, as well as the guy who's receiving the food, or ordering the food. So this UX designer has taken time to figure out in the app what my journey would look like. In a physical world, it's very easy. The person will call up on the phone, place an order and go and pick it up, or may go physically to the restaurant and pick up the food and come back, right? But how that journey would look in a digital world is an unknown, so they've actually figured out how that would look. Then they research and test to make sure how best to craft those experiences. Be it, how do you search for a restaurant, how do you pay, how do you give ratings to your delivery person. So each of these individual journeys are crafted step by step through what are called as information architecture flows of sorts, right? So like, how is information flowing from that point to this point, and what will that journey look like? How can I make it this most seamless journey possible? How do I make sure that the customer is not frustrated? Imagine, I mean, some of these apps which have thousands of steps, you and I get frustrated and we delete the app from our phone, or we probably feel like, okay, I'm never going to use this app again. So the better the UX, the better the experiences of the customer on these apps or on these websites. Now once they have a clear vision of what these journeys look like, it's the UI designers who step in and translate these into actual visual touch points on the app. So the icon you see, the visual
Right.
you see, where it's placed, what color it should be, all of these things make a difference, right? Like, imagine if you had a big red button in the middle, it's going to grab your attention. You're going to almost kind of feel attracted to click it. I mean, I'm no UI designer, so I'm not sure if that's technically correct, but you get the point of what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say,
Yeah.
that where it's placed, what color it is, what size it is, all of these will make an impact on the decision of the customer. In that sense, there's a lot of psychology involved. So to your point, even people like UX designers are often psychologists, I mean, or people trained in psychology, because they have a clearer understanding of what the human mind wants, right? I mean, or what attracts us to do the things we do.
Right.
So that's essentially what UX and UI designers do. Sort of in a nutshell, then, UX is more on the user research and user testing side of things, and prototyping side of things, and UI is more on the design side of things. So they focus more on color palettes, typography, layouts, images, to make sure that the journey of the customer on the app is a pleasurable one. Now,
Right. Right. In fact, I would just add that the customer experience is the most important thing in all the customers' journeys across the platform, across the industries. Even I was having a chat with my friend who
mhm,
heads one of the biggest retail organizations here in India.
right.
And they usually set up the mock up rooms that as
Mm,
if the customer would walk in, you know how he's
precisely.
going to look at the products, where the attention needs to be grabbed when he enters into the showroom. So that's a physical explanation of what exactly you're saying of the customer, that the customer experience, the customer journey should be smooth, should be error free, should be uncluttered. And that's what probably you're giving the insights on having the customer experience with the UX. uh,
Absolutely, you're spot
yeah.
on.
Janna, so we would like to know that if I'm a student and I'm getting excited about this course and I want to join it,
Mhm,
how does my career looks like after the
sure.
completion of course? What are the career opportunities for me? What are the different designations I would be getting into it? Do you have any information to share on that?
Absolutely. So, just coming back to that point on sort of, what these roles look like, what these journeys look like, and I'm gonna just add one small note here about designations before I jump into the specifics. Is, don't get caught up in the designations, because different organizations call these things differently. Of course, you will generally see user experience as a skill listed there, or you will see user interface as a skill set listed there, whereby by virtue of you having skilled yourself in UI or in UX, the assumption is you have a bucket of skills, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But always sort of like focus on what the role looks like and less so much the designation, because like tech industry is known to complicate designations. They're known to sort of come up with all kinds of names for things, and no disrespect to them, they probably all have their reasons for doing what they do. But
True.
as a student, focus on, are these skill sets or are these kind of job roles exciting me? So
Right.
the coming back to sort of the context of tech over here again, because UI and UX has caught a lot of steam because of tech. Like you said yourself, that your friend already does this in a physical environment. Like he already does this for a store where, whereby he's created mock environments for uh, for his employees to get trained to figure out what's the best way to place products, or what's the best way to interact with their customers. Now, in a tech world, those experiences are transforming dramatically and at a very quick pace, because it's very hard to make those changes in physical environments. Imagine if you want to change the layout of a store, you have to break down walls, you have to plaster it again, you have to invest a lot of energy on a on the tech side of things. It again requires a lot of investment in terms of time of the developers and of the UI and UX designers, but it's still on a computer, so it's a lot less uh, how may I say, cumbersome, right?
Right.
So UI and UX in that sense are quite intertwined in our times. uh, but the skills that you require through these are quite distinct. So at Tamwood, for instance, we offer two separate diplomas for that reason, one in UI and one in UX. UX focuses on building competencies in creating customer experiences, like we spoke about, creating customer personas. This is another term you'll keep hearing when you talk about tech. Customer persona. What is my target customer look like? Is he young? Is he old? Is he trendy? Is he traditional? What are the kind of attributes I can give to him or her? Like
Right.
what are the things that apply to this person, right? They also work on, like I said, information architectures, wireframing and prototyping, and also something called as UX writing. Now this again seems again technical, but it's basically being able to translate these English terms or language terms into technical terms, right? So they have to be able to then put these experiences down in a way that the product team and the UI team can take that and convert it into actual digital experiences. So that is a very unique skill set that you build, because almost acting as a bridge between the real world and the digital world, or the
True.
physical world and the digital world, or the human mind and the digital world, right?
Right.
um,
Right.
in that sense, soft skills point of view, empathy is a big skill set that you need to have, because if you're not able to empathize with your customer, it's a no go almost. uh,
Absolutely.
and then just kind of just juxtaposing onto the UI side, um, you're on the aesthetic side of product development. You're on the side of building branding, typography, color theory, sort of design guides and style guides, also wireframing. And then here you build very technical skills in specific design tools, but be it like tools like Sketch, be it tools like Illustrator, InVision Studio, Figma. I mean, just naming a couple popular ones. There are a ton more available in the market, but these are the ones that generally you may end up sort of building skills in. And these are really hard skills. It's almost kind of saying I can code in Python. So similarly, I can work in uh, Figma, or I can work in Illustrator, which means by virtue of you saying that, your employer is able to understand, okay, this person has a certain competency already, because he or she can work with InVision, or he or she can work with Sketch.
Right. So, Jana, before going further, I've got two questions. One is from Rohan. He's
Sure,
our very diligent listeners. Thank you, Rohan, for your
sure.
question. So, he's asking that can this be employed into the offline business processes or non-technical process? Maybe same thing what we were discussing, retail thing, but he would like to answer in your way. And we also have a second question coming in from New Academy, that how good user experience can help business.
Perfect. So I'm going to try and
Yeah.
combine both those
Yeah.
responses in that sense. Thank you, Rohan, and thanks, New Academy, for those questions. Absolutely. I mean, user experience can be combined into offline experiences as well. I mean, there is no set parameters of where you can apply user experience principles. At the end of the day, it's about creating experiences that are immersive, experiences that are seamless, and experiences that are pleasurable for your customers. I mean, at the end of the day, it's very hard to acquire a customer to begin with, and then to retain a customer is even harder. And I mean, if you are able to give them good experiences, they're going to come back to you versus going to somebody else. So if you take a regular, I don't know, they're called kirana stores, I think, in India, grocery stores, tiny corner shops, or convenience stores. If you think about any of those, if the guy is giving you home delivery, if he's sending you stuff on time, if he's giving you your bill on time, every now and then he gives you one small free thing, that's a great customer experience. I mean, why will you go anywhere else? Like, you don't need to go to a big box store then to buy groceries, because your local guy is giving you all that you need at the comfort of your doorstep. Great,
Absolutely.
great,
I mean, you
great.
are bang on target. I just add here that my mom is very reluctant to change her shop from where she buys the kirana. She
Yep,
even doesn't like the experience of shopping mall, because
yep.
this is what he does. This is what the service he gives. And whenever my daughter goes along with her, he offers the free chocolates, and that's what probably you're saying.
Precisely, right? So, I mean, he knows exactly what his customers' needs are. He knows that this is the grandmother and this is the granddaughter. So, if I please the granddaughter, the grandmother is going to be happy, right? I mean, like, very, very
Yeah,
astute, and that is psychology, right? I mean, if the
yeah,
child is happy, the child is going to be satisfied. He or she is not going to harass the parent. The parent will be calm for the next 2 hours, can do their work. So, I mean, that is human psyche. So, Rohan, absolutely, they can apply to real world experiences or physical experiences in that sense. UI, like I said, not so much, unless you're talking about, sort of saying, okay, how do I apply these design principles to design visual aids in my physical environments? Because at the end of the day,
right.
we're talking about interfaces and not so much, like physical architecture or
Absolutely.
infrastructure. And I
Like
think
Janal,
that
so
probably answers New Academy's question. Correct me if I'm wrong, Aslam.
yeah, I think we pretty much covered. So that's what applicable to any sorts of business. That's what we are
Right.
talking about with the examples of Kirana store. Thank you very much. So moving further, you touch upon Tamwood College. So it's very interesting. So let's also learn about Tamwood College a little bit, and how Tamwood College offer these kind of programs, which which allows students to get a deeper sense of knowledge in this particular course. Would you like to talk any about the programs and the fees as such?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in terms of programs, as I mentioned, we offer two diploma programs. One is in UI and one is in UX. So, the titles of programs are UX Design Professional and UI Design Professional. And both of them come with co op terms. So, co op is basically a work placement or a work term within the program. In terms of duration, each of these programs is 48 weeks long. And we are very intentional in the way we design these programs, where we're saying 24 weeks study and 24 weeks work, which is the co-op. So effectively, you're
Right.
actually being able to apply all these learnings in the work environment. So when you actually apply for your first full-time job, you already have 6 months of experience to show on your resume in this field already, which means that
Fantastic.
students are able to negotiate better jobs for themselves, and also enter the job with a firm footing versus feeling like, okay, I'm out of my depth here in that sense. In terms of fees, the tuition fees for each of these programs is approximately $14,000. There are some additional fees here around materials and technology and stuff, but I mean, it's not substantially higher than 15,000. So between 14 and 15,000 is what you end up sort of paying, in Canadian dollars, of course. The
Yeah,
detailed breakdown of this is available on our website. It's www.tamwood.com/fees. Aslam, you can definitely share that with your students if they're interested, and
absolutely.
get more detailed information on the fees. And on the point of the co-ops, as I was mentioning before, I mean, we often talk to industry professionals for these co-ops, because we also, like you said, want to stay industry relevant. We want to make sure the things that we offer our students are uh, aligned with what the industry wants. And so in those conversations, we're seeing that it's really hard for them to find talent these days. I mean, they're always
Hmm.
talking about how they're looking forward to our students finishing so they can engage with them. So not to say that we're the only ones doing it in Canada, but it's not as popular in terms of career opportunities or career courses here as well yet, which means that there's always more demand than there is supply.
Absolutely right. And this is where I believe students and parents who are listening to us, you can have a look at it, because usually we tend to follow the current trends, and the trends may be towards the tail of being the popular and in the market, and then maybe you need to see that what is the next current trends which are going to come up, and then you would want to catch up that to avoid the competition, which would just unnecessarily increase your or reduce your chances of getting a decent job or decent career afterwards. Before we move further, Charna, we would like to put one more question, which has been
Sure.
asked by Always Amazing Life. Does this include software development or programming of the apps and website?
Absolutely. So, software development and programming is more a development role, and that typically comes with programming languages. Like, I mean, depending on what the companies use for their services. So, not so much software development and programming is covered. However, there is in especially in the case of UI, there is definitely some amount of HTML and CSS covered. In that, you are able to bridge the gap between development and design, so that you're as a UI interface, or sorry user interface, or a UI professional, you are not for a want of understanding what HTML is or CSS is, or some of these sort of Java programming is, for instance, um, because you're working with developers. So there's still someone on the back end working on the entire app, right, which is the development side of things, and then the
That's right.
user interface person is making the app look attractive, but all of that is actually informed by UX, which is basically saying, okay, what does this app really contain?
Okay. If I would just put forward one more question, Janna.
Sure.
She's one of our students, Bhavna Idnani,
Sure.
and she has been exploring the designing come entrepreneurship based programs. She has done her BMS already. She's a graduate. And that's her question for you is so what qualification is required otherwise to come for this course?
Absolutely. So, you, in terms of prerequisites, our minimum prerequisite is a secondary education. So basically, grade 12, or in the case of India, CBSE, ISC, or HSC. So in Bhavna's case, she's more than qualified with her BMS from an admissions criteria perspective, from an academic perspective. The second requirement is an IELTS score, which is both a requirement at Tamwood as well as for visa purposes from India. And then, of course, the third is, a passion for the subject. I mean, or interest, which clearly she does have. So, Bhavna, that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, and a passport to fly to Canada.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Janna. Thank you, Bhavna, for being on the show. We can come back to you. Okay, so Janna, you mentioned about a little bit about the location of the college also in Canada.
Yes,
The moment the word Canada comes and many people wants to see that where in Canada, nowadays people are well aware of the different geographical parts of Canada. So we
of
want to
course.
know more about the college, about its location, where it is located, and if you can also throw some lights on that part of Canada, especially that why and how a student would get benefited after joining your college of that particular part of Canada.
Absolutely. So we are located in three places in Canada: Toronto, Vancouver, and Whistler. This program is not available in Whistler, so I'm going to leave that part out of this conversation. But Whistler is an awesome place for anyone who wants to go check it out. It's amazing. It is the largest ski mountain in Canada, and I think also in North America. So it's an awesome tourist location to check out. But like Bombay and Delhi, Toronto and Vancouver are always vying for the top spot for students' attention. So we're located in both cities, and in both cities we're located in downtown. So we have excellent connectivity to public transit, giving our students easy access to transport as well as to job opportunities because of being in downtown, as well as connectivity in general. Um, both cities are, of course, extremely multicultural. I'm sure, I mean, our students are aware, but just to sort of reiterate that point,
Sure.
these are both very, very vibrant cities in terms of embracing diversity, embracing inclusivity, and like any big metropolitan city, they have something to offer everyone, right? I mean, whether you are someone who's passionate about food, whether you're someone who's passionate about theater or sport, or nature, both of these cities have enough infrastructure to offer to international students. At Tamwood, of course, we pride ourselves of our size. We're a small school, and our class sizes are not more than 25, which sort of is something we really are happy about, and sort of are proud about, because it allows our students to assimilate very well and internalize sort of how to study in Canada, how to work in Canada with comfort and ease. Um, And of course, we also assist with homestays for our students from a living perspective. And just to kind of give you a little bit of context on homestays, I lived in a homestay myself uh, back when I was a kid in Quebec in Canada, and I think it was one of the most transformational experiences I've had, because living with another family is the best way to embrace a new country and to really understand what the local context and local culture is all about.
Absolutely. That's nice. And thanks for sharing your experience as well. I'm sure that this would be very informative for the students and parents who are looking to explore Canada. Janab, we also would want to know, we know that by choosing the college, I'm getting into a diploma course or
Yes.
short-term duration program. How the future lies if I want to continue my studies for the bachelor program, and if you would like to talk about the transfer program quickly before we conclude the session.
Sure. So at the end of our program, currently students can transfer into North Island College, which is located in Vancouver Island. So that this is the pathway that we offer from this program into North Island College. Uh, North Island College is not very far from Vancouver City, so again, students can get both the best of both worlds: the small community vibe of North Island, Vancouver Island, as well as the sort of bustle through Tamwood, which they've done before. Students sort of transfer directly into their communication design diploma with advanced standing, and get block credit transfers based on our articulation agreement with North Island College. And in my opinion, students benefit immensely from this pathway transfer because they save money on tuition, they graduate with two credentials at the end of this, and also get several work placement opportunities from the partner institutions program after they become eligible for their postgraduate work permit on on completion of the transfer, and the completion of the second credential. And specifically, I think we are very strong proponents of these kinds of arrangements, because by this combination of studying at a vocation focused institution like ours and then studying at a college at the public sector level, students get the ideal combination of academic and career skills to get the head start they need for their careers in the workplace. Very much like what you mentioned in the beginning, how does one take academics to careers? um, I think at a sort of very elementary or a fundamental level, students need to start focusing about careers more in terms of skills and less in terms of education, and this is a great way to do that, because they're able to blend academics with
Absolutely. So, friends, just to summarize, the Tamwood College would offer you an opportunity. This is where Janna is drawing your attention. Is that through the co-op program, and those who do not know co-op, what she's already explained, is that this helps you to get a practical exposure after doing your the normal traditional classroom studies, and that's the best way to combine your theory into practice, and then also get the experience from the industry. Also, the fees is quite reasonable. I think in Indian rupees, it comes around 8.5 lakh rupees for a year, and that's what the $14,000 stands for. And that makes your education in Canada more affordable if you're looking for a course, and especially the students who are past 12th and are looking to explore the option. You know that getting directly into the university for 4 years at that tuition fee rate becomes very expensive, and especially given in this current pandemic time, whereby we know that the many parents are facing the financial crunch or challenges. I believe for the parents also it makes a lot of sense to look these kind of colleges who are having more practical approach to teach you, having a small classroom to teach you, and have more hands-on experience whilst you study, and that all experience has been offered at a very affordable rate and affordable pricing. That saves a lot of money for yourself, which you can reinvest later on after doing your first 2 years course here in the college to the university or further institutes transfers. So thank you, Jana, for that. So I would just leave some of the comments and some of the questions. Thank you, digital influencers, for watching the show. We're just right on the time. So we still have three questions to go. Jana, what we do is that it's a rapid fire question whereby
Sure.
we would expect you to answer less than 10 words.
Okay.
So I will go immediately. Are you ready for that?
Well, I'll try. Fingers crossed.
Okay. So it's a very simple question. The first question is the IELTS requirement? If yes, then what's the marks or band I need to score?
Yeah, so IELTS is required, no less than six in each band as per SDS.
Okay. And how many intakes does Tamwood College offers?
For UI and UX, approximately five a year.
5 times. So, friends, that's again a very, very important point. You don't have to waste your time to wait for the next intake, which would be after 6, 8 months. Just that literally every 1.5, 2 months, you would be having one intake available for you. And the last question, Jana, any amazing, interesting thing about the city of Vancouver or British Columbia you would like to share with us?
To my mind, Stanley Park. It's actually bigger than Central Park in the US.
Wow, is it? Did
Yes.
I was not knowing
I was also not aware. I was like, wow, this is interesting.
that. I took nearly more than half a day just to walk through the Central Park of US of New York. But that's amazing. The
Well,
next
this will
next
take you
time to
longer the
explore.
next time you're here.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Jana. Thank you very much for your time and your quick insights on this very happening and hot topic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everyone for joining in and for your questions. We look forward to seeing all of you in Canada.
Great. So, thank you, friends, for joining the show and watching this program on trending careers through UI UX design programs with the co-sponsorship with the Tamwood College. If you have any more queries about this particular course, or you want to know more about this Canadian college, do contact us on our helpline number. That's 9987099890, or visit our website www.alif.in, and our experienced counselor will be happy to assist you instantly. My name is Aslam Sheikh, founder and CEO of Alif, signing off with a promise to come back again next Friday at sharp 5 p.m. with another interesting topic and with some amazingly talented speaker enlightening you on the subject that matters to you the most. Until then, stay safe and stay excited.